Step into the world of Viking shipyards and longhouses, and one fact becomes immediately clear. The timber these engineers used was extraordinary. Wood that should have rotted decades ago survived centuries, with some planks and posts still structurally sound today. Unlike modern lumber, it endured rain, snow, frost, and even constant exposure to soil and salt water, all without synthetic preservatives. For the first minute, consider that Vikings didn't have chemical sealants, pressure treatments, or modern coatings. Yet their wood lasted longer than most of what we try to protect with industrial products. The secret wasn't luck. It was knowledge, observation, and technique. By the end of this guide, you'll understand exactly how the Vikings achieved this near immortality in wood, why it worked better than most modern methods, and how you can apply the same principles today. The Vikings started by choosing the right type of wood at the right time. Not all timber is created equal. Vikings carefully selected dense, slow-grown heartwood from species like oak, pine, and larch. Heartwood is naturally rich in resins and tannins, compounds that repel water and inhibit fungal growth. They also timed harvests strategically. Trees felled during winter or early spring contained less sap, meaning fewer sugars for fungi to feed on. This careful selection formed the foundation for wood that could withstand decades of harsh conditions without chemical treatments. Modern builders and homesteaders can adopt this principle easily. Choosing dense, resin-rich species and sourcing timber during dormant periods gives wood a natural advantage against rot. Even small projects like raised beds, garden structures, or tool handles benefit from starting with durable, naturally resistant wood. They prepared timber to shed water and resist moisture absorption. Selection alone wasn't enough. Vikings paid close attention to how timber was cut and shaped. Beams and planks were often split along the grain rather than sawn, preserving the natural fibres that resist water penetration. Posts and edges were tapered or rounded so water would run off instead of pooling. This ensured that wood never stayed wet long enough to begin decaying. For modern projects, similar practices can make a huge difference. Splitting boards along the grain where possible and designing posts or beams with slight slopes or rounded tops ensures watersheds efficiently. Even subtle adjustments in how wood interacts with moisture can dramatically extend longevity. They dried and seasoned timber slowly to stabilize it against decay. Vikings rarely used freshly cut wood. Timber was stored in ventilated, covered areas for months or even years, allowing moisture to escape evenly. Slow drying stabilized the wood, reducing cracks and internal stress that make it vulnerable to rot. It also made the wood less inviting to fungi, which thrive in wet, unstable timber. Today, air-drying wood before installation is a low-tech but highly effective way to improve durability. By allowing moisture to leave the timber naturally, you mimic the centuries-old practices that gave Viking wood its legendary resilience. One of the most ingenious techniques was heat treatment. Timber was lightly charred over embers or near controlled fires, not burned but slowly heated to harden the surface. This process drives out moisture, reduces sugars fungi feed on, and creates a semi-carbonized outer layer that acts as a natural barrier against decay. Modern builders can replicate this by gently heating wood over low coals or using a heat gun on a low setting. The goal is a hardened surface without deep burning. This method alone improves water resistance, but when combined with natural oils or resins, it creates timber that is extraordinarily durable. After heating, Vikings applied substances like pine tar, fish oil, or rendered animal fat while the wood was still warm. Warm timber allowed these liquids to soak deep into the fibres. Pine tar repels water and resists fungi. Fish oil penetrates further than most modern oils, and animal fats provide flexible sealing against moisture expansion and contraction. Together, these treatments created a layered, defense-hardened wood reinforced by deeply absorbed oils and resins. Even today, applying natural oils or tar to warm wood after light heat treatment creates a moisture barrier that far outlasts many synthetic coatings. Posts, beams, tool handles, and outdoor furniture all benefit from this simple, centuries-proven approach. They designed structures to maximize durability and minimize rot. Material treatment was only part of the solution, you see. Vikings designed their structures to avoid prolonged moisture exposure. Posts were often elevated on stone or gravel roofs, extended beyond walls, and floors were raised for airflow. These designs minimized contact with wet soil and reduced water accumulation, dramatically increasing the life of the wood. Modern homesteaders and builders can, mirror these principles. Elevating posts, providing underfloor ventilation, and incorporating extended overhangs ensures wood dries quickly and remains protected even without chemical treatments. The legacy of Viking wood proves the method's effectiveness. From longships to stave churches, surviving Viking timber demonstrates the longevity of this method. Careful selection, shaping, drying, heat treatment, oil infusion, and thoughtful structural design allowed wood to survive for centuries. Modern chemical treatments, honestly, rarely match this combination of durability, sustainability, and effectiveness. By reviving these techniques, builders today can create structures that last decades or longer, using natural methods that work with the wood instead of against it. The Viking wood trick isn't just history, it's practical knowledge ready for application. If you enjoyed this deep dive into ancient engineering and want more insights into forgotten construction methods that still outperform modern products, subscribe to Relic Logic and share this video with fellow history enthusiasts. The old ways still have much to teach us, and their lessons are surprisingly applicable today.